This is Learn How to Secure Your Space from the Earthquake Country Alliance. My name is Mark Benthian, Executive Director of Earthquake Country Alliance. A lot of the information you're going to be hearing about is available at earthquakecountry.org/step1 and in Spanish at terremotos.org/paso1, paso uno. If you're not familiar with the Earthquake Country Alliance, we are a statewide public-private grassroots partnership of leaders and communities and organizations. We have different committees that are focused on sector topics as well as regional groupings. Funding comes from the National Earthquake Hazards Reduction Program to the California Office of Emergency Services that provides funding that is administered by what we now are called the statewide California Earthquake Center. We've been the Southern California Earthquake Center for many years, but also working statewide in many ways. So we're finally catching up with our name. The program that is administered by FEMA that provides the funding to Cal OES includes some other federal agencies that work together to understand the causes and effects of earthquakes, design recommendations how to reduce earthquake damage and disruption. Often that is in the form of retrofits and the way you design buildings and infrastructure, but also important is how you deal with the objects within buildings. And that's what the focus of today's webinar is about. So they also support activities that, like today's webinar, that advocate for earthquake risk reduction practices. Earthquake Country Alliance also coordinates, we'll hear about our websites today, but coming up at the end of March, once again, is California Tsunami Preparedness Week. And you can go to tsunamizone.org right now. And just like Shakeout, you can register your activities that you might do, whether you're along the coast or even inland, as people do travel to the beach and should know what to do if they are there. So you can learn all about that there and register your activities that you might have during that week at the end of March or any day of the year that has something with learning and improving safety for tsunamis. Of course, we also coordinate the Great California Shakeout. That's not again until next October 17th in 2024. Happens to be the 35th anniversary day of the Loma Prieta earthquake from the that affected the San Francisco Bay Area. You can find out more activities on our calendar, and also by joining the ECA at earthquakecountry.org/join, get on our email list so that you can learn about things that are happening. Today is a webinar on the first step of the 7 steps to earthquake safety. And we put that first on purpose because it is so important to reducing the chance of injuries and damage during earthquakes. And it's something that everybody can do. You may need to buy some items to that you'll hear about today to secure things. Of course, by attending the full workshop today, we're going to be sending you a starter kit of some items for securing furniture, TV, and cabinet latches for cabinets. But some of the activities that you could do even before you get those materials is just moving things that are up high, maybe on top of a bookshelf or somewhere that if an earthquake happened, they were to fall or potentially be thrown across the room, could be cause damage, be broken themselves, or could cause injury. So it's very important. It's something that you can do right away. You can especially also do over time. So you don't have to secure every item in your home in one weekend, but you can plan what you're going to secure, what's most important. One thing to consider is items that might fall and block your exit, or that fall and block the entrance of people coming in perhaps to rescue you. And so if you have anything near your exits and entrances, that you make sure that in particular is secured, such as bookshelves or hanging items on the walls, maybe without a glass, or as well, if that's going to be your exit and You might not have shoes on, you might cut your feet up with the broken glass. So all of these are aspects of what we're going to be talking today. And for those of you just joined, please use the chat for asking any questions and making comments. We'll be getting here. We will have some polls as well. And thank you again for attending. We do have also a lot of the materials, including materials that will be referenced today in 16 languages now on our website. So if you're looking for self-protection action guidance, what to do during earthquake shaking, about the 7 steps to earthquake safety, different materials, including about shakeout, materials for people with disabilities, and also how to secure the 8 most common items. We have these now in different languages. And just before we get started with our presenters today, just a bit of disclaimer. Of course, earthquakes are going to happen in many different ways, and it's really it's very difficult to say what may happen in an earthquake, and securing non-structural items like furniture and other contents will only be as good as your building is as it goes through the earthquakes, and those things attached to walls, and those walls still standing. And of course, then also some of the ways that you install these, really, I'll just say, please read the instructions that come on the packet. Attending today's attending today's webinar is a really great way to make sure that you do install these correctly. That's very important for them to function correctly and to actually secure your space, actually prevent items from falling. So we're not able to guarantee that because you attended today's workshop that you'll then go and do that perfectly. But we hope that you'll learn and implement things. And if you have any questions, our presenters' contact information are going to be at the end, and they're going to be very happy to help you if you aren't sure how to properly install something. So with all of you here, please start with, if you can, put in the chat answers to these questions. And simple answers. Why have you joined today? And you can also share what sector you're with: businesses, government, education, and I have a feeling somehow that, okay, good. Someone's putting, I thought maybe that no one could put anything into the chat. Here we go. All right, awesome. But I was going to have to go. There we go. Thank you all. You're there. Welcome. Excellent. Good point from Norma to see what we can do with a small budget. Really important. Also, Desmond, I know from the Berkeley area, one of our ECA mini award recipients. I'm here to help my neighborhood group learn why and how to secure stuff. Excellent. ECA has a mini award program for which we provide the materials like you're going to learn about today. The next time to apply for that is going to be in January timeframe for the 2024 program. You can get about $500 or maybe even $1,000 worth of these materials to secure your facilities, to secure if you're at a school or nonprofit organization, or work with your neighbors to make sure that they get key items secured so that your community is that much more safe. You can learn more about the mini award program on our website under earthquakecountry.org/mini awards. Again, we'll be sending out an email when that program opens up for the application opens up in January. So please do join the ECA. Make sure to get on our email list at earthquakecountry.org/join. And then thanks all for sharing why you're here today. Really great. And even some of you reinforcing what you may have done. Shout out to Roy Duggar from Santa Maria, who led an in-person workshop like this in October, and that we organized with ECA Central Coast. Good to see you here, Roy. And we just like others who I also see we have our partners from California Office of Emergency Services with us here today too. Yvette and Philip, and seeing others here. So just really thank you, everybody. So our presenters today are Glenn Granholm, Vice President with Safety Proof, and Trevin Reese, Vice President with Ready America. These really are the two main companies that provide, produce and sell and provide fastening materials that you can buy online through their websites or in stores like in Home Depot and other locations. And so I encourage you to visit their web pages to learn. And also we have a promotion. Again, if you're about to want to buy some more of these materials, then we're going to send you for free by participating today. We are about to launch a Secure Your Space for the Holidays campaign. We'll have discount codes. You'll find a link on our website. It's hopefully by the end of tomorrow. Also through Facebook advertising. But again, if you will be emailing that out as well, so definitely make sure you go, and you can go right now and fill out the web form at earthquakecountry.org/join, so that you'll get on our email list going forward. You can also, if you are wanting that link, you can email info@earthquakecountry.org, which will be shown later at the end, to make sure that if somehow you don't get it, that we can send it to you. We have ways of getting the discounts, 25% from each company through that campaign. Okay, so with all that intro and welcoming for everybody who's here, I want to turn over to Glenn Granholm from Safety Proof to continue and really kick off today's webinar.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for attending. I encourage you all, if you haven't spent time cruising around the website for the Earthquake Country Alliance, that you do that, earthquakecountry.org. You're going to get some great information and an introduction, if you haven't had one already, to the 7 steps to earthquake safety. Now, today's webinar is going to be a deep dive, if you will, into what is called non-structural earthquake damage mitigation. That's a long word, but basically it means to keep stuff from falling down to mess up your house after an earthquake. We're going to get into the concepts behind non-structural earthquake damage mitigation. We'll show you some how-tos and particular action steps that you can take to make not only your home, but those of your loved ones safe as well. There are other things you can do to prepare for earthquakes that are included in the additional steps. There are specific maybe tweaks to our training today for commercial, industrial, schools, hospitals. Other things are kind of like a beefed up version of what we're going to go over today. But the bottom line is we're going to cover securing those items on the left and show you how incredibly easy and affordable this can be. So Mark, if you don't mind, the next slide. We live in what is called earthquake country. What does that mean? I'm sure a lot of you have seen a colorful map like the one shown on the screen. This type of map is called an earthquake hazard map. We all get it. The redder the color, the worse the news. This is a probability map, and it shows the frequency of earthquakes anticipated over the next 100 years. So we can see here that there will most likely be fewer earthquakes in Arizona than in Nevada or Colorado during that time. Colorado you can't see on the map. Still, when an earthquake does hit, a 7.0 in Arizona will be just as devastating as one in the neighboring states of the same size. The point is, hazard maps show how often earthquakes occur, not necessarily how bad they are when they do. Next slide, please. So why focus on non-structural earthquake damage? Most certainly, earthquakes have revealed to us a huge inventory of structures that have vulnerabilities in intensive earthquake shaking. These include buildings called soft stories or cripple walls, like you see up in the top right. Soft story is in the top left. unreinforced masonry like in the center. Other steps in these 7 steps will cover these aspects of retrofitting buildings. Proper earthquake insurance is covered as well. But today we're discussing non-structural elements in the average home. Why lead off with this? Why is this step 1? Next slide, please. FEMA estimates that future California earthquakes will cause massive non-structural damage. Check out, there's this article from the UC San Diego School of Engineering. 75% of all losses is a huge number. It says 75% of the potential future earthquake-related losses and insurance claims. When you combine the high probability of an earthquake, remember the red in that map, and the probability, experts have shown that this is happening sooner rather than later. Combine that with how much of that damage will be to non-structural elements of a building, it only makes sense that we start with securing building contents. Let's take a look at how to do that. Next slide, please. We're going to begin by going on a hazard hunt. That's how you determine vulnerabilities in your home. And for that, I'm going to turn it over to Trevin Reese, and he's going to take you on a hazard hunt of his home. Take it away.
Just want to acknowledge that Trevin is with us live, but we're also watching a recording that was made previously. So if you do have questions, you will be able to answer them. Let's watch the recording.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my home. Today we're going to be going on a hazard hunt to help protect you, your friends, your family, and children, and keep them safe during the event of an earthquake. So if you guys want to come on inside and identify a few of these items. So right off the bat in the entranceway, we have, right here is a giant mirror. So you're really going to want to have this secured, as it's really important during an earthquake. This is going to create a lot of broken glass. Additionally, in the entranceway, we have this stand. So you're going to want to secure that as well. These exit pathways are going to be very vital to making sure that you can exit safely after the earthquake happens. It's really important to remember to exit after the shaking stops. So we're going to go through a different part of the room, the house. So if you follow me this way, let's check it out. All right, welcome to my office space. While we're still setting this up, it's really important, everybody, that you get these items secured. TVs, computer monitors, those can turn into flying projectiles during an earthquake. So it's really important that you get these secured. You can use the gel pads, the quake hold putty, or the home electronic straps. So once you have those secured, you know that inside the office space, you will be safe during an earthquake. So now that we've identified those items, I can take you to another part of my home and we can show you the living room. So if you guys follow me. All right, now we're in my living room. You can see items that need to be secured in here. So what do you think needs to be secured? Have you identified any items? All right, perfect. So right off the bat, you can easily see that we would have to secure our TVs. Additionally, when you're securing the TVs, you want to make sure that you also secure the credenzas. That's going to be really important. If you secure the TV to the top of this, it's not going to do any good if you don't have the base of it secured. So we want to make sure that you are securing both of these items. Additionally, if you don't have the ability to secure it to the top of the credenza, you can mount it to the wall. That's going to be very important as well. All right, if you come over here, this would be one of the other items, especially as this has a glass cover on it. It's really important that we get these paintings secured throughout the home. Additionally, you can use quake hold putty down at the 2 bottom corners to keep it from banging against the wall, which would create the broken glass. And now there's one last item that we have in here that we can identify, and it's additionally the bases right here. Those can turn into projectiles and go all the way across the room, creating more broken glass, and if someone is close to those, they could hit them directly. All right, now we've done the living room, why don't we go check out the kitchen, where we spend a lot of our time. Let's see it. All right, welcome to my kitchen. So let's see if we can identify a few items in here that are gonna create the most risk during an earthquake. So I want you guys to take a second and identify those items. All right, now that you're seeing all these items in here, what do you think is the most important to have secured? Good question. I think that would probably be the refrigerator. So if those are not strapped down, I really encourage you to get those secured. And you can use any straps available from Safety Proof or Quake Hold. It's really important that we have those items secured down, as people will spend a lot of time here in the kitchen in front of the refrigerator. Additionally, there's a few other items in here that we can't secure, so what do you think? Well, how about the bases that we have up top here? So if you're standing here, cooking, doing dishes, whatever it may be, when those items are not secured, those turn into, again, projectiles and will create broken glass. Broken glass is one of the biggest risks during an earthquake, because if you get your feet cut and you go down, you're going to be no help to anybody, to your family or to your friends, especially the children. So it's really important to have shoes close to you or on during an earthquake. Additionally, we have my tortoise cage. Sorry, he's outside right now, but this is a glass cage for him. He's not going to make a guest appearance today, but we want to make sure that you're using Quake Hold putty or additional supplies to secure that down. So now we've gone to the kitchen, we can identify the second living room. And there's only a couple items in here that we can identify. So this is a perfect example of when you can't secure it to a credenza that you want to mount the TV to the wall. So I was able to mount this into concrete, which makes things a little more secure, as I know this is going to have a very strong hold, especially for a larger TV. Additionally, we have these candle holders right here. And those are made out of pure glass, so it's really important that those are secure, because those will turn into projectiles. Especially if they're higher up, you want to make sure that those are secure, because they will fly a little further. All right, and we'll go into the last room here and see if you can identify at least one more item to secure during an earthquake. So let's take a look, see what you can identify. Hopefully you guys find the one that is the most important that we secure. Well, should have figured it out by now. It is this other candle holder right here. So this is a giant piece of glass that is currently not secured to the base. So it's really important, especially if you have mounted glass like this, to secure first the base to the countertop, and then secure this portion right here with the Quake Hold putty to the base itself. Now you can be very generous on the amount you use. So now that you guys have had a chance to look inside my home, I hope you can do the same thing at yours. It's really important to identify all these items. You can pretty much get your entire house secured for the cost of a meal out with your family. So get prepared, make sure you're earthquake ready. Now back to you.
We almost went back into Trevor.
Okay.
We almost did it twice.
And I'm back. Thank you, everybody.
And he's back magically. What we'll do now is provide the latest information and best practices on how to secure items in your home. You know, not everybody's going to have in their home exactly what Trevin has in his home, but we want you to get the concepts here. Did you notice? Anything that's on an exit way or an exit path, in or out, we want to secure that, and it doesn't matter how big that is. Anything that could fall over and hurt somebody, we want to make sure those are secured as well. Items that would just be a big pain in the neck to clean up, like broken glass all over the floor, and could be dangerous as well. We need to make sure that that stuff doesn't go flying about in earthquakes. Think about it. Anything really valuable to you, or that's important to you, you don't want to lose in an earthquake, or perhaps anything that's attached to gas, like a gas dryer, where you don't want that line to get pulled out. The fact of the matter is, in California for many, many years, the structural building codes have been such that we do a great job building buildings to survive really large earthquakes. The USGS calls single-story wood frame houses seismic zones of safety. That's amazing. So, and also, you're going to see Trevin and I both work for companies that sell earthquake parts. There's lots of places to get earthquake parts and components. What we're trying to do here today, this evening, is to teach you about the concepts behind earthquake damage mitigation. How do you make your home safer? So during this training, we're going to show you some questions. The poll is going to come up with a question, and I got to tell you, you don't need to be nervous even if you're no good at taking tests. These are multiple choice, and it could be the easiest questions you'll ever answer, because I'm going to tell you the answer right before the poll question shows up. Okay, so let's move ahead, and then we'll also take a break from time to time, and Trevin can show you some more aspects about how we fasten items in the home. So the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about how we got here. For years, securing equipment, when it happened at all, was done the same way. Brackets called angle clips, like you see in the photo, were used to secure items like bookshelves and tall cabinets. This method of anchorage is called a mechanical or a positive attachment. The thought was doing this would keep an item from falling over in an earthquake. Next slide. Well, a couple things happened in actuality during this. The photograph on the right, taken from the Earthquake Hazards Library at Menlo Park, and you can let that sink in. The USGS, they didn't put the brackets into wall studs, and we will talk about how to attach to wall studs as we move along here. But also the picture on the left was from an actual shake table test done with these types of brackets. You can see the unit didn't fall over, so technically the item passed the shake table. However, if you have more than one of these, or even if you just have one, you're going to want to get that replaced before the aftershock hits. And you can see that's probably not likely. So is there a better way to go about fastening things? Let's take a look at the next slide. Here is actually a video of what happens to an item on a shake table test that is secured using this mechanical or positive attachment. You can start the video, Mark. Maybe start at the last 20 seconds. You can move it on over. The bracket that is right about, yeah, not all the way, yeah, right around there. That's fine. The brackets that are being tested on the shake table are at the bottom left. You can see that black bracket. Oh, yeah, we'll try it again. Live TV, this is about as good as it gets. All right, now, I'll tell you one thing. This 1,000-pound refrigerator, if you find it in the laboratory, is in trouble because it's water. At an earthquake, you can see at this point, the refrigerator just flew off the shake table test. That's a really dynamic test. Can we look at the next slide, please? So what happened when we take a closer look at this is that the door hinges on the right side of this unit, when you set the unit up, sheared completely off. This metal attachment of hinges tore apart. However, the adhesives that were put into place to hold the door closed held, and the door did not fall off. Again, very dramatic in showing the superior nature of using what is called a very high bonding adhesive. That, in combination with the fact that some sway was allowed to happen, in other words, it was flexible, this flexible strap in combination with the very high bonding adhesive seemed to do the trick on this shake table test. And the reality is, after the Northridge earthquake, some of these mechanical positive attachment brought down even load-bearing walls. They tended to get mangled in that type of shaking. So we want a very high bond, but we also want this flexibility that allows the floors and the walls to move in opposite direction, because that does happen in earthquakes. And so that leads us, and I'm going to repeat what I said, a very high bond adhesive and flexible fastening. That leads us to our first.
What kind of adhesive is that?
That's a very high bond adhesive and flexible fastening. Now let's try our first poll and see how we did. What holds fasteners to the unit when a positive attachment is not used? Double stick tape, quick drying glue, very high bonding adhesive. That's a good answer there. or a silicone sealant. So go ahead and click right on your screen. You should be able to select an answer and submit the answer.
Yeah, there should be a window that's popped up with the poll for you to choose an answer. If somehow that isn't there, just wait a moment. We don't want to put the right answer into the chat. Although the right answer says, I think we've demonstrated are going to be pretty simple here. So you'll hear the answer before you're asked to give it. So let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to end the poll and share the results.
All right. Well, look at that. Boy, very good. So we're using a very high bond adhesive, VHB tape. All right, now question number 2. Let's see if that can, boy, let's see if this works. Question 1.2, which is, okay. Oh, there it is. Today's training will review the best practice for using which of the following methods for securing equipment and furniture: angle clips, through bolts, chain, or flexible fastening. I really like that last answer. Give it a shot and see how good you can do. So that door stayed on there because very high bond adhesive and flexible fastening was used. Okay, you want to go ahead then, Mark?
Yep, and I'll share those results. Good job, everyone.
Flexible fastening is what we want to use when we're securing equipment. So a combination of the very high bond adhesive and flexible fastening is what is recommended now by experts as the best way to secure furniture and equipment. Okay, thank you. Then let's move on to the next slide. So
there's the answers.
Okay, there's the answers. Nice. Okay, what do I need to get started? Adhesive-based fasteners are simple to use. To get started, you're going to need some of the basics, however. You need a stud finder, and the one that I love is the one in the center of the picture. It may not look like a stud finder if you're familiar to what stud finders look like, but we've used this in our company for years, and we have a lot of work being done in a lot of hospitals using those stud finders. They're rare earth magnets, and they hold on to the wall where the stud is. You need a cordless drill and safety goggles, and then you may need some isopropyl alcohol, and quite often that comes with your purchase. Okay, so we're ready for our next poll question that is based on this slide. Okay, so you take a look at the slide. It's got goggles, it's got a drill, it's got alcohol, it's got a stud finder. Let's go to question 2.1. Which item do you not need? Safety goggles, power drill, L bracket, or stud finder? What do you not need to do fastening? So we're getting you set up to anchor all kinds of stuff.
What you don't need. Now, at times it's possible that you don't need any of these items to do some types of fastening, Glenn, which we'll hear later on, right?
That's totally true.
But certainly one of these items you never need.
So yes, so you go ahead and show the answer there. That L bracket was what was used on that shake table, and that's what failed, that mechanical positive attachment. I don't know, I wasn't real clear on the terminology for it. And if you're using putty, you certainly don't need a drill, but we'll get into that. And that's a really bad written question. I don't know who did that. Okay, let's move on to the next slide.
Answer.
Okay, so we're going to talk about items in the home, and Trevin showed you like the big television on the credenza. All right, and what's the concept here? So the idea here is that we want to secure the non-structural element to the structure. At some point, we need to get an item anchored to the structure correctly. However, there are two factors that I want to consider. One in this picture here is securing the unit on top, meaning the television, to the actual credenza, and then two, attaching that credenza to the wall. Because if all that you did was secure the television to the credenza, you've done nothing really that would prevent the whole thing from tipping over in an earthquake. And we don't want that. We need to secure a non-structural element to the structure. So Trevin is going to get into doing that. So this is a okay, you almost gave it away. There are two key points. This idea of securing one item to another item that is then secured to the structure is called mending. That's the term. We're mending two items together. Then we're going to secure. And all we are looking for, whether we're looking at the structure itself or we're looking at where we're going to put the fasteners on the non-structural element, is we're looking for something called an anchor point. In the case of a structure, quite often the anchor point is the stud in the wall. On the sides of the unit, and Trevin will show this when he demonstrates it, it's a surface that is smooth and flat for the adhesive to bond to. So those are the two concepts I want you to get a hold of here: anchor points and mending. Now we're ready for the next quiz. What two concepts are critical to consider when securing furniture? Anchor points and mending. It's a really good answer. Density and mass, refrigeration or heating, color and depth. What are the two things you want to consider when you're going to anchor anything? Because you remember, we're not so much talking about which fastener it is. We're talking about the concept of why it is you're even doing what you're doing. And we don't want to just raise the center of gravity to have things more likely to tip over. That's all we would do by doing a television to the credenza. So let's see how we did. Very good. Anchor points and mending are really what we're concerned about. We want to know where we're going to attach to the structure. Most often, if it's a wall, it's the stud in the wall. And we want to also look at anchor points on the unit. We need smooth and flat. And securing one stacked item to another stacked item is called mending. Okay, so there's that. When we go back to that picture, again, we're zooming in on the same picture that we had before. We're gonna start by securing the credenza to the wall, and then we're going to show you how to secure the television to the credenza. But remember, we always want to find the wall stud. The issue here that you can see on these bookshelves that have collapsed is you can see the brackets that they had. They had fasteners on the bookshelves themselves. The fact is they didn't hit wall studs. And so the earthquake just pulled the screw right out of the wall. And you can't have that happen. Finding the wall stud is absolutely essential. In fact, in this industry, we never vary for that. You can buy items at the home store called molly bolts or toggle bolts, and those may work to hold items up, but they're never used by earthquake engineers. In fact, they're not allowed to. We need to make sure we secure an item to the wall stud. We never put adhesives directly on drywall. Adhesives go on the non-drywall, they go on the furniture that we're attaching, and a screw goes through the strap and into the wall stud. So Trevin will show how we go about doing that. But the important part for me here is this is not optional. Okay, so let's go. Mark, live TV here. Okay, I just wanted to find where Trevin is, where that next video is. Bear with me, please. Okay, we're fine. So we can go back to helpful hints when using BHB and adhesive tape and fasteners. A couple helpful hints for you for using the adhesive, okay? First off, there is a specific protocol to follow to ensure that the bond sets with the BHB adhesive. This protocol isn't invented by any Earthquake Fastening Company. It's made by the company that creates the adhesive. They have the protocol. You never want to vary from that. Also, when we're using adhesive, as I previously mentioned, we never, I would put in 50 nevers if we had the time. Never put the adhesive on the drywall. It's just going to pull the paper off the drywall. Does that make sense? So I have to stress that. So again, the screw goes through the strap, and you see this strap here in this picture has holes in it. This picture is, we're not securing to the wall. We're simply holding a monitor down using adhesives, but we are ensuring that where it's attached is smooth and flat. So make sure you follow every time that you follow the manufacturer's instructions. So let's take a look at the next poll question. Under what circumstances would you use adhesives directly to drywall? When you can't find a stud, that's A. Or if the drywall is painted with a smooth, glossy paint, or if the room is a kitchen, or under no circumstances do you do this. Attach the adhesive directly to drywall. I love that last answer. That's a good one. So give it a shot, see what you can come up with. Excellent. Never. And I wouldn't have to say that if we hadn't seen photographs of people putting adhesives directly on the drywall, thinking that they've done a good job with this. So we never put the adhesive on the drywall. All right, next question. So next question, we're going to be talking about a flat screen television, okay? Which most of us have. When securing a flat screen TV, it's okay to use the TV to hang, or use the straps to hang the TV right from the wall. So we had talked about how you secure the television on the credenza. And we talked about securing the television to the credenza and securing the credenza to the wall. So do we want to put straps from the back of our flat screen TVs right into the wall? Do we want to do that? And I'm telling you, it's not a good idea. So let's see how you answer that.
And it is a difference between, we're not saying don't mount TVs on walls.
I'm not saying that at all. In fact, in California, the television mounts that you get for the flat screens that you mount on the wall they have in their instructions that you need to secure the mount to the wall studs. So following instructions is important. So
yeah, so these aren't metal units that you get that are really robust and bolted onto the wall, and then your TV goes on that. This is about if you're putting your TV on top of another stand, that you secure it with straps to the stand, as we're about to see in the video. And we'll share these results. Good job again. That's
correct. We really want to avoid doing anything other than, if you've got a flat screen TV sitting on a credenza, just secure the television to the credenza, and then secure the credenza to the wall. And then Trevin will be showing exactly how we do that. So we can go ahead. Great job, everyone. We can go to the next slide. Sometimes finding wall studs is hard to do, particularly in lath and plaster homes. The best stud finders somehow just don't work with it. You'll get a positive stud finder reading all the time, and there are actually people in this industry older than me, and some of them can find wall studs by knocking on the wall. I've never been able to do that, and if you can do that, that's great. But let's talk about some other kind of shortcuts if you got hard to find studs in your home. Okay, so let's look at the next slide. So outlets, the wall plugs are often mounted to studs. So, and since most wall studs are 16 or 24 inches away, you can drill what is called a pilot hole into the wall, little tiny hole, be about the size of a pinprick, into the wall. And if you hit resistance, you've hit a stud. You're probably going to find then another 16 inches to the right and 16 inches to the left. Another trick that we've used this up in Berkeley several times, is that the floor kick plate is attached to the wall at studs. The nails go into that. So a stud finder will catch the nail in the kick plate or the bottom molding, right? And then all you have to do is go straight up. So studs are typically straight in a home. You go straight up from that point, again, measure 16 or 24 inches off. And the last one I threw on there just because I've seen somebody do it. It was somebody who works in commercial. He has a rebar floor scanner and he held it up to the wall and was able to find wall studs using that. I don't have one of those, but if you happen to have one of those, that might be a trick that you can do. Bottom line is there are tips and tricks. Fundamental construction in most homes is studs are evenly placed behind the wall. So you don't have to find every stud to be able to find the one adjacent to it. And these are some tricks that could help you.
And Glenn,
but again, when we're talking, go ahead.
Another thought, if people are not finding stud, there are plenty of videos on YouTube that will show you how to do this. So give you tricks. There's articles. So you should be able to find how to find the stud in your walls through one source or another.
Absolutely. So we've talked a little bit about how to get furniture attached to the wall. And that's an important part because, as we'll learn later in this review, a lot of furniture is the same shape. It doesn't really matter if it's a refrigerator or an entertainment center we're talking about. It's a rectangle that we want to attach to the structure, right? So these concepts that I'm trying to get across to you, where we're not putting drywall directly on the wall, we're not using molly bolts, we're not using toggle bolts, and we're trying like our best to find a wall stud. And this is non-negotiable. If you cannot find a wall stud and it's just impossible where you are, guess what? And you want that item secured, you must secure it to the floor. That's the option that you have because we want to get the non-structural element attached to the structure. That leads us to our next question.
Having a little trouble launching it. Just a second. I'll do it this way. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I did not stop the last program. There we go. That's why. There we are.
There we go. So you want to secure an item in a room with studded walls, but you cannot locate the wall stud. Which of the following is your next best alternative to securing the item? A molly bolt, put the adhesive on the wall, a toggle bolt, or secure to the floor. I like that last one the best. But here you go. Molly, toggle, or attach adhesive right on the wall, or secure the item to the floor. You can't find the wall stud. What do you do? Whenever you're ready, Mark.
We would like to see everybody participating. So if you're, we're getting about 10 people who aren't, but please do follow along with the polls. So here we are with the answer to this question. And I bet it's going to be on this.
Very good. Yeah, if you can find a wall stud, you can buy molly and toggle bolts. Seismic engineers will never use them. You cannot do it. It's not allowed. If you're an engineer and trying to get something past the building department, no way. They're not seismic anchors. So, and we never put the adhesive on the wall Nice. We secured to the floor. Okay, so we're getting there. We've emphasized finding the wall stud. Let's get to a demonstration and have Trevin show us how to get that credenza secured to the wall.
Hey guys, good morning. My name is Trevin Reese with Ready America and Quakehold. So today we're really excited because, like Glenn said, I just bought this new home. So you guys are going to see us install these straps live in person in my actual home. So it's really important that we get this right. So what we're going to be showing you guys today first is how to secure your TV stand. So what we have here is our furniture safety straps. Now, like Glenn said before, there are many other straps available in the marketplace. But what's great about these two is the flexible nature of them with the high bonding adhesive that Glenn was talking about. Additionally, the Velcro that you can see that attaches to this to make it easily removable and reusable. So with the TV stand, it's very important to secure that with other items, including if you have bookshelves or bookcases, any top heavy furniture that's in bedrooms or high traffic areas or china cabinets, for example. It's really important to make sure to secure those, especially if you're going to try and exit the home after an earthquake. You don't want any of those items blocking your escape path to get out and exit safely with your family. So that's why we're securing these here with you today. So what we're going to want to do first is get your tape measure out, you guys. Measure the height of your TV stand or your bookshelves or cabinets. So right now we're sitting at about 40 inches to the top of this. And so with the straps, what we're going to do is we're going to measure about 38 to 39 inches on the wall. Locate that wall stud. And what we've done for purpose of time is we've already installed a couple of these for you guys. So take your stud finder, first and foremost, check the wall. Right here. Here's where our stud is going to be. So what Glenn was saying earlier with the pilot bit, here's what your pilot bit is going to look like once you've located that stud. You're going to want to attach this to your drill and then test for that stud. You may not hit it the first time, but if you go through and you look at that anchor point again, you will find it if you just go to the side just a little bit. So what we've done is we have measured about 39 inches on this one. So you can see the strap already attached to the wall. So here it'll raise up like this. You have your washer and your screw here with an extra anchor point right here where you can screw this into the wall if you need to for shorter cabinets. And that will sit right on top. So what we'll do is I'll have you guys help me scoot this cabinet over a little bit to the wall so we can actually brace this in live time. And I'm going to stand back while they move this in so I can make sure it's even. Since we are doing this live time, I want to make sure that everything looks the way it should be by the time this is done. Let's get it over to the right a little bit for me. Perfect, right there. So it's not going to be completely even every time. And this is the thing you get with live demonstrations, is it's not always going to be 1/3 the size. So if you have taller cabinets, you want to secure typically 2/3 the height of the books for the bookshelf. That will prevent the bottom portion from kicking out and then causing that to rip everything out of the wall. So it's really important to secure that. So what then we're next going to do after we have installed these straps is it's very important, you guys, to prep the surface with the alcohol wipes that are included in these. So this will help to clean the surface and to form a stronger bond. So what we do here is we just simply wipe that down a little bit. Do the same thing on the other side. Move this out of the way. And we'll give that a second to dry. You guys, we want to wait for that to get completely dry before we install any of these straps. So almost there. All right, perfect. Now that we are in place, we want to remove the film right here, exposing the adhesive, the industrial strength adhesive, and allow a little bit of flexibility in the strap. We're going to go ahead and put that down.
Kevin,
right
why is
here.
that flexibility really important?
So the flexibility is extremely important. So that way it's not ripping the whole weight the entire time of this cabinet, of the TV stand out of the wall. So it's going to allow for it to have a little flexibility, a little play, which is going to be very helpful. And Glenn mentioned that earlier in the slides when he saw the items that were used with strong anchor points, with items that didn't have any flexibility in the strap.
Kevin, since you're here with us live, I'm going to pause it for a second too. Something I've seen before with your straps is people installing onto the wall with the bolts through both of the grommets in the strap. Is that ever recommended? Is it an option, or why are there multiple grommets?
Yeah, so you can actually do that. I've actually seen that done before, and I know that we've used that method. So if you want to go that route, it does actually help create a little bit of a stronger holding power, since you are using two of those grommets right there.
Perhaps for particularly heavy items, you have the option.
Yeah, or if you can only find or locate one wall stud. Another thing you can do if you can only find one wall stud is you can actually secure both of the straps to the same wall stud, and then you almost just like put it as like a V out of the wall, and so it attaches to the cabinet. And we recommend that for items that aren't too tall, so that the base doesn't kick out, and will provide the same amount of holding power, pretty close to.
The other thing to point out is that you have you've moved the item out from the wall so that you can put the bolt into the wall lower than the top of the credenza, so that when you move it back in, you don't really see the strap. You just see maybe the adhesive part. We've seen many people not move the item out, and you have a very visible strap pointing upwards, and that obviously may not look good. And then also the question just from the chat right now: do you have to put the strap on the top of the item, or can you attach it to the side or the back of the item?
You can attach it to the side. I would not recommend attaching it to the back. And there is different color straps that we have available too. So if you have different color furniture in your home, you can color match. So that way, if you do need to put it on the side, it won't be as noticeable.
Especially if it's lower to where you would, if it's a tall bookcase, you won't see the strap on top of it. But in this case, you could have put it on, I think my mouse is showing, on the side over here below the kind of the lip of the top there, where the surface is finished. It's that finished stained wood surface, versus the back of these units often are more of a cardboard or particle board, even really, that you would not want to stick onto, because it will rip it right out. And let me go ahead and keep playing the rest of the video.
So you push down on this, make sure there's no additional little air pockets in there. So you're going to want to run your fingers along the side. We'll go ahead and do that on the other side as well real quick. Same process. Allowing a little bit of flexibility.
And the other key thing that you're doing here is you're bolting it below the back of the wall, so
yes, so that way you don't see your hardware typically when you're sitting down watching TV. And what's great about these straps too is we have different colors to match. So you find these in Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, any of the major retailers. And there's other straps available too, but we have different colors that you can use to match the furniture in your home. That way it's still appealing and you're not noticing any additional strapping. Additionally, you can strap to the sides of the furniture too. So bring over your camera over here. So as long as you have that strong surface, you can strap it to the sides like this. That's also going to be another important feature. So now that we've done that, Glenn, I can toss it back to you. We have secured the TV stand successfully, and this is not going anywhere.
Trevin, one question that just came in is, can you attach it to the back?
So I wouldn't recommend attaching it to the back. It's not going to have the strongest bond because the back of this cabinet itself is not finished wood. This is unfinished wood in the back of here. So it's either to the top or to the side. And each of these straps will secure 250 pounds. So this will hold 500 pounds. And I can assure you, this is about 450 pounds.
I think also if you attach it to the back and it leans forward, it's going to start to pull the Velcro apart.
Yeah, the Velcro, the way that it's angled, it will not have that.
Not the way you have it there, but if it was on the back, it would actually, the force would be opening it up versus here, it's in line with the Velcro and you can't pull that apart that way.
Correct. That is correct.
So clearly we answered these and discussed these topics when this was recorded as well, but there is a question that's come in. I think it's a good time to talk about this. Also, to move it for cleaning, you have to unbolt it. And that's actually not the case. Paul, you've continued to say, do you have the model that has the Velcro attachment? And that's what this is. There's either the Velcro or there's a buckle. Safety-proof straps have a buckle to where you undo from the furniture itself, but the strap still remains attached to the wall through the bolt. And Trevin's demonstrating removing the Velcro, but even when you remove the Velcro, the adhesive is staying on the furniture. You're just temporarily removing the strap so that you can pull the item out if you need to clean or find something that's fallen below. Pam's asked, do you then move your item back against the wall or leave it a few inches out from the wall? I think it can go as close to the wall as you really want it. Is that right, Trevin?
Yeah, that is correct.
And then when you remove the adhesive, if you ever wanted to fully remove the strap, Noah's asked, is the furniture surface damaged?
So what we recommend is you can use some sort of adhesive remover, like a Goo Gone is a good example, and then gently pry it off. You can use just about anything, like a flathead screwdriver. Flathead is perfect for that, but I would recommend gently doing that so you don't scratch anything, and slowly remove it. And typically we don't see any damage. And older items, you might get a little bit of paint removal, but just try, like I said, try to remove it gently and it will come off without damaging the furniture.
Another point is that it looked like there's a little loop on the top. Is that recommended to give it opportunity for movement? I think that extra bit of strapping is, but that you could push that down so it's not visible.
Yep.
And someone's asking, is a heat gun good for removing the adhesive? Either to you or Glenn.
That couldn't have option.
A heat gun can be used. It's not necessarily effective. 3M in their published data recommends denatured alcohol, which is hard to find. So you never want your two alcohols mixed up. The fact of the matter is, these adhesives are meant to stay on, right? That's the idea. So, but if you do have to remove it, and Trevin pointed this out, be patient, go slow. Putty knife sometimes works, but the other wonderful feature about VHBs is again, for the most part, this stuff is used on really expensive laboratory equipment. It's used on sensitive machinery like that. It's used on antique furniture, and I'll get into in a little bit about particle board and the backs and rough surfaces and stuff like that. But the only point I wanted to make is absolutely you can put the fasteners on the sides of the unit. Just make sure you do not compromise the binding of the wall stud. And sometimes that stud doesn't line up that it will enable you to get around to the side based on where the stud is behind the unit. So a lot of times your field condition will be the determining factor when it comes to bracing, because you don't ever want to compromise on bracing something correctly. But great questions. Excellent questions. So I'll go ahead and dive back in. Let's secure the television to. Yeah, one more. You want, Mark?
So we got a little confusion on we got another question on how many inches should the furniture be from the wall? Or is it depending on the strap?
Okay. We don't remember you saw the video. We don't want too much wobble. The inertia is bad, but we want some play. It's flexible fastening. Typical rule of thumb is a ½ inch of play in the strap. So however it is you're organizing and putting on your fastener, and about a ½ inch to an inch of play in the strap, allowing for that flexibility of wall and floor motion is what is typical in the industry. That's how most companies that install these fasteners do it.
So really not much.
Would you agree, Trevin?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So really not much distance between the wall and the item. Certainly not needed.
Correct. And you know, the fact of the matter is some units there's plugs back there anyway. You can't push it all the way flush against the wall. So you got to have some gap behind the unit for the wall plug, particularly if there's a TV on a credenza. You've got wires and stuff behind the unit anyhow, so you need about an inch in between them. Refrigerators are much the same way, where they might have a grid or a grill on the back of them. You can't push it right up against the wall anyhow. So there is some play that you'll come. The more you work with these, the more you'll be able to find that this is really pretty easy to figure that out. So let's move on to the television. So we secured the credenza to the wall. Now let's secure the television to the credenza. Okay. When using VHB fasteners, remember that the adhesive tape bonds to almost every substrate or surface. That's one of the great features of VHB, is it attaches to darn near anything. You want to use the fastener on a surface that's clean, smooth, flat. Stay away from particle board or rough, unfinished wood. Particle board is typically too lightweight to hold in an earthquake without breaking. And so the back of that credenza, we didn't look back there, but back of many pieces of furniture have this lightweight particle board. We don't want to attach it. If you must secure the fastener to unfinished wood, you're not going to rely on the adhesive form of wood. So most fasteners come with optional screw holes, and you can little wood screws, little tiny screws that you put through the unfinished wood. Think of the underside of a desk. The other thing about top, sides, as opposed to backs of furniture, okay, upper sides are underneath, right? So the earthquake's pulling mostly in this motion, though some of them have uplift. So that is that pull at 0 degrees is called a shear pull. But if you have a fastener on the back of the unit that's pulling away, the capacity of that fastener gets lowered. It's on its position at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so just know that your capacity is going to be lower on those types of surfaces that are basically parallel. Okay, and I saw the comment on denatured alcohol, and that's absolutely true. We do use it in stainless and powder coated steel surfaces because most of our work is in hospitals and labs, and it doesn't impact those surfaces. Okay, so we're going to, let me make sure I got my notes here. Particle board, okay. Smooth and flat is what we're looking for. And so when you look at the photograph here, you see whether we're talking the back of the television or down at the base or actually on the top of the credenza itself, they're smooth, flat, finished surfaces. The adhesive really will bond well to those, regardless of that, if that surface is metal or plastic or wood, it'll bond to it. So let's now go to the next video and pre-recorded and watch Trevin attach the television to the fence.
So this is a very industrial strength adhesive. So it's going to be a little tougher to get these things off of here if the bond hasn't formed completely yet. So let's see what we can do here. You see how difficult this already is to remove?
I like how that holding down the bottom level as you pulled off made sure that the adhesive didn't come
Keep
out.
the bond on there. Yep,
That
exactly.
Velcro is really strong.
Yes, it is. So we're in good shape now. So you can see that's a very industrial strength adhesive and Velcro, which means this thing is not going anywhere. Just like that. So great shape. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, now if you guys can help me to move this thing out a little bit. Perfect. All right, guys, grab the TV for me. All right, so they're going to bring the TV here. So I'm going to make sure they're extra careful because this brand new TV and it's about the max height. So what we're going to be showing you guys today is the universal flat screen strap. So this is 2 flexible nylon straps that allow you to, be careful on that one, pull that forward a little bit, please, you guys. Don't want my TV falling off the edge. So what we're going to be using is these flexible nylon straps again. So here, let me show you these. This pack comes with the 2 straps here with the industrial strength adhesive, the VHB 3M, quick disconnect, so you can remove and reuse. And then on the other side is a foldable adhesive that will attach to the back of the TV. Additionally, with it is your alcohol wipes, your hardware in case you need to attach these straps to the wall. Again, this is not used to be a mounting device for TVs. This is only for seismic bracing purposes. Do not use these to mount your TV and hang it from the wall. Additionally included is a quake hold putty, and we're using that at the end to secure the feet down to the TV stand itself. So if you follow me around the back here, you'll see the flat surface here on the TV is where we're going to be securing these straps. So what we're going to want to do is first find a point here on the back of the TV stand where you're going to want to secure the strap, and then measure it out. You want to get this about halfway up the height of the TV. So we're not quite there yet. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to extend this out a little bit. So now that we've done that, we find a better spot of where we're going to want to secure that strap. So before we do that, we need to prep the surface again. Like I said, prepping the surface is very important when securing a TV of this size too. This is a 70-inch TV. The straps, the universal flat screen straps, to secure anything up to a 70-inch TV. So I just barely made the cut on this one. So let's prep the surfaces here and here. And we'll wait for those to dry. We'll do the same thing on the other side. You see the 2 anchor points right here. We're going to want to go right to the right of those screws.
Like a cooking show. He's pre-done a lot of it.
All right, so that one's just about dry on the TV stand. So we're going to be removing the 3M film on top of the adhesive here. We're going to then install that right to the back, to the edge of the TV stand itself. Press firmly down to form that strong bond. Don't want this TV going anywhere, so we want to make sure this thing is secured as possible. Let's make sure that we are even though. Good. And we'll leave a little play in this too, so we can allow for adjustments if needed. And then start at the top here, press down firmly and rub that in. We'll have somebody hold the TV from the other side, so that way we don't press too hard and have the TV come toppling over yet. But since we're already attached, we should be good to go. So remember, like I said, get all the sides. And also you can use a screwdriver to get these side pieces right here too, to make sure those are all secured down. So now that we've done that, I'm only going to show you guys one of these. I'll secure the other one later for you guys in the interest of time. But we're going to secure the base of the TV to the TV stand itself. So we'll take our Quake Hole putty that is included with these kits. Open this up. You can see the putty itself right here. And so we're going to want to use this fairly generously on the bottom of these, because this will prevent the TV from falling backwards. In addition, 2018 study revealed that about 459 children have been killed with falling TVs between 2000 and 2018. So this is something that we know we can avoid, and eliminating any kind of death from children sitting in front of TVs or any accidents during earthquakes or children even pulling furniture over is a very important aspect. It's why we do this, is for not only child safety, but earthquake safety, and to keep your family and your friends safe. So that's why we want to make sure that these do not fall on any children, because that's where children like to spend most of their time. So we're taking a generous amount here. So that'll be one of the feet. And we'll just simply roll this into about a little ball, just like that. Very simple to do. This one right there. We'll take another piece. And this is actually the very first product our family created after the Northridge earthquake. This was the first item in a Home Depot. So this became a very popular item, and it's removable, reusable. It doesn't damage any of your furniture. And so Jerry, if you can help me lift this TV a little bit, just on this side, perfect. So you can see we're going to just take this right to the bottom here. And we'll do the same thing to the other side. Perfect. And now let's set down. And then we'll push down on that. The way the TV itself should do the trick, but it's always nice. And then if there's extra on the side, you can either remove that or leave it the way it is, just for aesthetic purposes. But that should secure the TV, especially a TV like this extra strength. So you'll be able to have confidence that your TV is not going to go anywhere. And it's protecting your investment. These things aren't cheap, so it's protecting your investment. It's keeping children safe and keeping you and your friends and family safe during an earthquake. So that's how you guys secure a giant flat screen TV.
Trevin, while we're still with you, a couple of questions. One from Rana is, can the adhesive be removed from the furniture?
Yes, it can. So what's great about that too is when you stick this stuff down to the furniture.
Not the Quake Hold, but the adhesive.
The adhesive. Oh yeah, the adhesive. Yes, you can. You just have to be careful while you're doing it. If you're on unfinished wood, which I hope you never do.
Glenn, I think we already addressed that topic.
Yeah, we pretty much covered that. Okay, so excellent video, and you notice that as we get through that, boy, oh boy, awesome. So you're gonna notice Trevor found smooth and flat surfaces, right? And there is nothing rough. There's no rough wood, because remember the VHB doesn't bond unless we have a smooth and flat surface. That's what we want, and it'll hold darn near to any smooth and flat surface. The substrate variation is huge. All right, so we got two more poll questions before we take a break here. Let's fire those off and see if we can get them. Which type of surfaces is best on which to place adhesive tape fasteners? Smooth and flat, concave and rigid, rough and unfinished, or moist and convex? I really like that first answer, but answer as you like as to which of these types of surfaces is the best. Okay. Go ahead there, Mark. Smooth and flat, that's all we want when we're using our adhesives. Excellent. Then the next question is, onto which of the following surfaces will the VHB bond not set. So what do we want to stay away from is what we're asking here. Metal, plastic, unfinished, rough wood, or painted sealed wood surfaces. I really like that unfinished rough wood option. Stuff like undersides of desks, things like that. I'm sitting here, let's see. Oh, that's rough wood at the table I'm at. So I'm not putting my fastener there, but let's see what you answer. So the next question, unfinished rough wood. Very good. So we want to avoid that. So, I think I saw something said we don't really have time to break. We'll just plow ahead. Does that sound all right, Mark?
Just looking at questions that have come in, there's one, do we need to do anything when the TV is mounted to the wall like you showed in another room? I think in terms of what we've been talking about here.
Let me see what I can see there. See what I see there. Okay, smooth and flat.
I think none of these principles are really applying to that type of mounting because it's really bolted to the wall and then bolted into that mount. Everything's positively connected.
And I think I know what's being talked about. So the brackets that come with the television, there are instructions that come for using these TV wall mount brackets, and they include make sure you put them in the wall studs. So the holes will line up with the studs. Sometimes there's slots. They give you a variety of places to mount those, but it's important to follow the directions. We're in earthquake country. We gotta put those brackets, those wall mount brackets onto the wall properly. We want them in wall studs. So that's what I got. Well, guess what? You're already becoming fastening experts. You've learned why non-structural bracing is so critical. You know about anchor points and mending. We talked about that. We talked about the importance of finding wall studs when securing furniture to the structure. Now, before we get into securing other items in the home, and there are a few others that kind of fit in this other category, let's discuss the VHB protocol and other aspects to consider when securing items in your home. First of all, the VHB protocol. How do you use this VHB? And Trevin demonstrated it beautifully, but there is a process, okay? It's not as simple as peel and stick, like putting on a Band-Aid. We've already covered that the surface of the adhesive must be cleaned, and using the included isopropyl alcohol or 70% isopropyl, if you don't have it in the fastener you've got, that is an essential part of this. Now, some new furniture that you get in the home, I think the one I would think of most often would be like a new refrigerator. Sometimes the sides of it are kind of beveled, and sometimes they're like oily even on stainless steel refrigerators. Sometimes not, but sometimes they are. So what we'll do with that is we use this Scotch-Brite type of adhesive pad, and we simply lightly rub it because we don't want any of that oil that may be on there on that surface, and we don't want the bevels at where that specific real estate that the fastener is going to go. So we clean it, we sand it, we clean it again, and we make sure we let the surface dry. With isopropyl alcohol, it's a pretty quick process. It dries within a few seconds, so that it doesn't take long. Then we peel off the backing or of any type of fastener so that the VHB is exposed. And we make sure we never touch that surface because we don't want oil from our fingers to get onto it. So we don't touch the surface. And then we press down where the adhesive is going to go. And we actually try to press down for 30 seconds. For the purposes of making a video, we didn't have time-lapse technology, but that is a good rule of thumb. From 3M is apply pressure for 30 seconds. And here's a little trick of the trade. The bonding that takes place between the adhesive and the substrate for a full bond takes 72 hours. However, it holds at 50% capacity at 30 minutes. That means at 30 minutes, you can go ahead and pull on the strap and it shouldn't move. If you noticed in Trevin's video, he was just there like real short period of time, and that adhesive was stuck on top of that credenza. It wasn't going anywhere. But that is a good thing to make sure, because maybe the surface wasn't clean, or maybe the surface wasn't smooth and flat. Good way to test that is go ahead and pull it 30 minutes. And if the thing comes flying off there, the bond did not set. So those are some tips. We also try to avoid direct sunlight. So we don't use these fasteners typically on rooftops. And again, we never put the adhesive directly onto drywall. So what's the process? Clean, sand if needed, clean again, let dry, peel the backing, press for 30 seconds, test it 30 minutes. Sounds a little complicated, but I think you guys can get it. Let's go to the next poll question. Which of the following is the correct protocol for preparing a surface before placing the fastener? Do we clean, sand, clean, and then apply? Do we just sand? Do we just apply the fastener, then clean? Do we clean, then sand, then apply the fastener? What do we do? I really like that top one best personally. Clean, sand, clean again. Sanding is not always required in household furniture, but if you've got a surface that you're unsure about, it's always a good practice. Okay, let's see how we did. Very good. Clean, sand, clean, and then apply the fastener. Now that picture on that previous slide, there are all kinds of VHB. You can see 3M makes 1,000 different kinds of VHB tapes. So there are many kinds of fasteners that you can get. All right, let's look at the next poll question. Which of the following is the correct protocol after applying the fastener? That's going to be the next question. Someday. Which of the following is the correct protocol after applying the fastener? Press firmly for 30 seconds. Simply peel and stick. Once the fastener is in place, set the bond with a heat gun. I don't think I talked about that. Once the fastener is in place, use electrical tape over the top of the fastener for 4 hours. What is it we want to do when we're putting that fastener down? I like that top one the best, but let's see what you can come up with. Okay, how we doing? Oh, fantastic. You know, this process, just like finding the wall stud is non-negotiable, following the correct protocol for making sure you use the adhesive right is non-negotiable. It's not something any installation company came up with. It is the manufacturer of the adhesive that has come up with this. So we want to follow that every time. Great job, everyone. I'm giving you an ovation. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the big picture, because we're in the home stretch of teaching you how to do this. And I'm fully convinced you're going to be experts at this and can teach others how to be safe. So let's talk the big picture. Then we'll get into some other items. Okay, everything we've covered. Yeah.
Sorry, Glenn, before you continue, I just put a link into the chat for our survey tonight. You've made it this far. Before you leave, make sure you do take the survey. This is also how you're going to provide your contact information so that we can send you the sample kit of fasteners from Safety Proof that will be purchased with our FEMA National Earthquake Hazards Reduction Program funding provided by Cal OES. So that's the one place you want to do to make sure that you receive those items. So that we get your address and can send that to you right away. Continue, Glenn.
All righty. So everything we've covered so far with regards to securing your home in advance of an earthquake involves the securing of furniture. A couple of final comments regarding kind of the big picture of non-structural earthquake damage mitigation. First, remember that earthquake forces can move a building in all directions, not just back and forth. Torque and uplift do occur, and sometimes the motion in one room of a home is quite different than the movement in another. This is one reason flexible fastening is recommended. You want fasteners that are multi-directional, that take into account this varying motion that earthquakes can cause. Additionally, structural engineers consider this all the time. We never use friction or gravity as a method of securing furniture to keep it from tipping over in an earthquake. So friction pads may help limit the motion of dishes in shaking, but they aren't going to stop the entertainment center from falling over. The best option always is to secure your space. Fasten things down. Use VHB adhesive tapes correctly, and they will always give you around 40 pounds per square inch of fastener surface holding power against most earthquake forces. That is kind of our big picture. So let's dive into the next couple poll questions. Which of the following is not a good rule of thumb to follow when deciding which type of fastener to use? Fasteners should always be multi-directional. The adhesive should hold around 40 pounds per square inch of fastener size. The fastener should always be able to be secured to either the structure or an element that is secured to the structure, or always ask the sales clerk at the home store what the best fastener is. And I'll tell you why I put that last one is, which is not a good rule of thumb, but I just probably gave away the answer. So let's see how you answer first, and I'll tell you why I threw that in. Yeah, that's great. So I was talking to a facility manager, 100%. I was talking to a facility manager who says, I don't know how to fasten this. The boss said I'm supposed to go down to XYZ home store and ask the clerk what to do. Probably the sales clerk isn't an expert in this field. So probably you don't want to use that as your guide to determine how best to secure an item that is valuable to you or to protect your family. Okay, next question. This one, we're talking about engineers, and I blew through this. You're going to choose two on this answer. When securing heavy equipment and furniture to limit earthquake forces, which two bracing methods do engineers never use? I mentioned that they never use friction and gravity because they're not allowed to by code. So they're doing all this code required recommendations for anchorage, and they're not allowed to use friction or gravity, like friction pads. Like you don't want to just tilt something up and say, I've earthquake braced it. Does that make sense? So go ahead and pick two of these. I just noticed I cannot vote. I don't understand why I don't get to vote. I think there's a problem with that. Okay. Next. Very good. Friction and gravity are the two things that we don't consider. Earthquake. We don't think about just using that as our single method of securing anything for earthquakes. Friction pads can work. There are lots of things you can get maybe for your RV, but we're talking about earthquakes, and we're talking about seismic forces that can be real extreme. So we want to make sure we're doing this right. Okay, great. So following the training you received so far can go a long way. Remember what we're doing here. We're shape. So the next slide, different shapes of items that you can find commonly. A dresser can be the same shape as a bookcase. Uh-oh, my internet is unstable. I hope I stay online. So we see different items that are all the same shape. And the idea is, or when it comes to fastening them, we secure the items to the structure to make sure that they do not fall, right? So we're gonna take a look at some other items in your home that you may want to secure. Let's look at the next slide. Wow. I don't live in this house, but in the house where I do live, there are wall hangings, and it is a real common reason why people visited the hospital in both the Loma Prieta and the Northridge earthquake was cut feet from running down hallways during an earthquake when pictures had fallen off the wall and the glass broke. So we're going to take a look at a pretty cool item. The next slide, and then I think there's a video following it, Mark, where Trevin's going to show the amazing picture hook and this cool item to keep your items on the wall.
There was a photo here that I had against my wall. So what I've done for you guys is created this clear glass so you guys can have a better idea of how we're going to secure this. So if you've seen these before, these are the amazing picture hook. So you'll see this in Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, all the major retailers. We have safety centers in there with all those supplies available. So if you get a zoom in here, you can actually see each one of these, how it gets a maze design where it locks the wire in. And there's two different ways where you can install this. You can either use a smaller nail for smaller paintings or screw for larger paintings. And each one of these can secure up to 50 pounds. So if you have a larger painting or a larger wall hang, I would recommend using 2 of these. And then if it's larger, have somebody else there to assist you with it. So all the hardware is included. You can see that right there, the smaller nails or the screws if you choose to go that route as well, which I recommend using the screws regardless of the size of the painting, just so it has that extra hold on it. So if you come over here, I can actually show you. We've kind of located that in the wall here. And so I've gone ahead and screwed that in already, and you can see that maze design. So now what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to show you with this picture, the clear one, so you can see right through the entire time while I slowly guide the wire into that maze design. And so that will lock into place. So it helps it prevent from like falling off or anything like that. And so now we even it up a little bit and set it there. And now what we're going to do next is what I mentioned earlier in the hazard hunt. We're going to use a little bit of this quake hold putty to prevent that from going back, banging against the wall. So you can see right here, it's just a little light putty here. You don't need to use too much of this stuff at all. It's going to have the proper hold. A little bit of this goes a long way. You can secure items up to 40 pounds as long as you secure it at the base. And so we'll put it on the bottom 2 corners only, not necessary to go to the top. You can see right back there. 2 corners, and then you simply just push against the wall to form that nice strong bond. And what's great about that too is it helps to keep all of your paintings or your wall hangs even, so you're not going around the house and you're trying to adjust paintings every single time that you see something just a little bit off. So that's the easiest way to make sure those get installed and help protect you and your home during an earthquake.
So Trevin, there's a question about using the putty on wallpaper or on the drywall. Like, you know, earlier said don't use adhesive for drywall, but this really isn't the same type of adhesive for sure.
Yeah, so this is the quake hold putty. So it comes off the drywall a lot easier, but it's not used to actually secure the painting itself. It's just used so that it prevents it from slamming against the wall and creating that broken glass. And it's also just helpful because, you know, it's going to keep your paintings even. It's just a little trick that we've been able to identify over the years. I mean, our family's been providing these supplies for 30 plus years. I mean, this was the very first product we created. And so over the years, a bunch of different, you know, uses.
There was a
Yeah.
Thank you, Trevin.
Yeah, so that would apply to the VHB, not a putty. And we'll see the putty, more about the putty here in a second. I did want to point out one thing. If you notice that when Trevin attached the picture hook to the wall, and you line that up, boy, it comes right to the edge of that wall outlet. So that's exactly where the stud is, and he hit that nail right into the stud, which is fantastic. So let's look at the next poll question about
And Trevin, can you
these
respond
kinds
to
of
the
devices.
question in the text? We'll do the next poll if you can reply to the question in the chat, Trevin. While we do this.
So we're multitasking while Trevin's looking at that question. Closed picture hooks, such as amazing picture hook, can hold up to 50 pounds when, and you noticed Trevin hit the wall stud. And that's what we want to what we're doing. So go ahead and answer that question. Hollow wall anchor, glued in place probably are not the best options, but give it your best shot. Let's see what you come. Securing to stud, yeah. Hitting that wall stud is always recommended. That's really what we want to do, right? So it's going to be your best option. You
There was a
element into the stud. So very good, very good. Okay, next slide. Another common area of residential earthquake damage is lightweight collectibles, figurines and such. If your house is like where I live, these things are everywhere. And the picture on the left is one I took of Aunt Ivel's collection of, I have no idea what it is. It doesn't matter to me. They're precious to Aunt Ivel. And boy, in an earthquake, can you imagine what's going to happen there? So how do you address this? You have a putty party. I said that wrong. You have a putty party. Trevin, I'm going to hand it over to you live for a putty party.
All right, Glenn, thank you. All right, so you guys are in for a treat today. We are in our Big Shaker earthquake simulator. So we're going to use the Quake Hold Putty and our museum gel to secure a couple items inside our earthquake simulator. And once we secure those, we're going to actually simulate a 7.0 magnitude earthquake. So let's start with the putty here. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get a little piece here and roll that into a ball or a strip. And depends on the surface that you have, if it's square or circle. Square, you want to put on all four sides. Circle, 3 points at minimum here. So you're going to simply see right here, installing that. I have 2 more already made, so it's going to be easy enough. And I'm actually using real glass for this one. So I want to show you that this is a common method that we use. This was the very first product we created. Secures items up to 40 pounds, so you can see what the finished product looks like. And we're going to step over here to this area, and we're going to simply push down right there and twist a little bit to form that strong bond. Make sure that we are secure. So you can see that one there. And then we're going to take the museum gel right here. You can see it's clear. This is recommended for those clear items, china, crystal, so that way you don't see it. Just don't forget it's there, please. And because if you try to remove it without twisting at the base, you could end up breaking something. If it's got a stem, you don't want to break that. So always remove at the base and twist. So we're going to take one more of these and we're going to just roll that up here. Put onto the base. Just like that. Same process for both. And we're going to come over here and attach this down. All right. So we do recommend that you have, once you put this adhesive on, that you give 24 hours before, you want to have at least 24 hours to form that strong bond. And earthquakes happen anytime, so we want to make sure that you are always prepared. And we have an earthquake. So this is simulating about a 7.0 magnitude earthquake. You can see all the items that flew off of the shelf. Those turn into projectiles and end up all over the floor.
Trevin, are you okay?
As you can see, the items that were secured were the only 2 items that remained on the shelves. That's why it's important that we secure all those items down. And simply, I'll show you the process to remove these. Twist at the base right here and lift just like that. And if there's any putty left that's stuck on the surfaces, you can take a little bit of it and just dab it up. Very easy to use. The Quake Hold Putty will secure about 40 items inside your home. The gel will do about 200 items inside your home. So a little of this goes a long way. So that's how you secure those breakable items inside your home to prevent stepping on any broken glass.
Couple questions, Trevin. So we twist when we put it on too, right? You twist it down?
Yes. Yeah, just twist it back and forth just a little bit, just so that way it forms that strong bond and the adhesive has a chance to mold to the bottom of it. So there may be like little, there's little grooves in the bottom here. So it just forms that strong bond to the whole glass.
Is there a particular recommendation you have for porcelain or china?
Yes, for china, you can either, the putty is recommended if it's little bigger units. You can do up to about 40 pounds with this. If it's smaller items, clear items, this is a great solution. If you're doing all your porcelain and you're not going to see underneath it, I recommend the putty because it does have a stronger hold.
Thank you, Trevin.
Welcome.
I think there we go. Hello. Okay. Sorry, my video wasn't working. As Trevin pointed out, a little bit goes a long way, and you can certainly secure all types of items. Think of that 20-pound, that 40-pound limit for the item. Boy, have fun. Have yourself a putty party. Now, one of the most dangerous rooms in the home in an earthquake is the kitchen, and it's not uncommon for doors to fly open and stuff to go flying all around. In the past, people have used baby locks or hair scrunchies or something like to keep cabinet doors closed. Oh my, guess what? The technology has advanced like crazy. We're going to watch a video of one type of fastener that works great called seismo latch. And you can put this in without tools. And that's why I personally like it, because I'm not very good with tools. So can we show the video, Mark?
And Glenn, just that this slide is showing different types of latches. One that you have to put your finger in and kind of lift up, this top left one. Top right is one that you have to push in to pop open. And Trevin, that was one you were showing that from Ready America.
Yeah, that's the one that you have to push your finger in to pop out.
I don't know why anybody would want this one with an outer latch that you lift up, but that's a type. And then also the new Seismo latch. All three of these require screws, and that's what's nice about this new one. It's all done with adhesive, and I'll show that in the video.
So that's one type of latch that you can get that boy, somebody way smarter than me invented. And but there are, look online, look for cabinet latch. Bottom line is, for all of these products that we've showed you today, take the steps, secure your space, and think about these things. And as Mark mentioned way at the beginning, you don't have to do it all at once. You can go a little at a time. So now we're going to get into two final items that we're going to, Trevin's going to talk about: water heaters and then racks.
All right, so having our water heaters inside our home, it is California code that we secure these. So what is recommended per code is to have two straps, about 22 gauge at minimum, wrapped all the way around the water heater and then attached to the wall. So you want to secure each strap. The top strap wants to be, you need to have 1/3 from the height, and the bottom strap about 1/3 from the base. Again, you want to make sure that you are securing these, because if these go down, it's going to be a problem. And it's also a great source. So if an earthquake were to happen, or you need additional water, utilizing the water from your water heater can make great drinkable water. I'm jump to the next one. So here you can see the example where it secured approximately 1/3 from the base and 1/3 from the top, and wrapped all the way around the water heater. All right, so securing storage racks. This is great for garages or even workplaces. Have a lot of the metro racks. So a very popular solution for this is a lasso strap. So wrapping it uh, around this is going to be a very good method. We also have what's known as a cart to wall strap. Our Quakehold Industrial Division, it's something that's available, uses D-rings. So you can secure it and then put the additional strap through the D-ring and tighten it. And remember, we'll always want to go into the wall stud. And depending on the height of those, you can secure about 2/3 the height, or if it's bigger units and heavier, if you're putting a lot of heavy equipment, whatever it is on there, and it becomes extremely heavy, we recommend putting 2 straps on each side. So it's going to be a total of 4 straps.
And we have on earthquakecountry.org/step1, all of the items we've shown here have these images and accompanying simple instructions that you can download. So definitely look there. I'm going to put the link to the survey in again. That's where you're going to put in your address information. For if you stay through the end, you'll be able to consent to the items that were promised you from Safety Proof: a TV strap, a furniture strap, and 2 of the Seismo latch cabinet latches. And there's been a couple questions about things like books and now items that are on shelves and ways to secure those. Either of you like to take that?
Well, there's certainly many ways, using the putty on different shaped collectibles or stuff that you may have on open shelves. Absolutely the way to go. There are also solutions that if you can imagine what a bungee cord is, like a stretchable fabric cord, it can be used to hold in bookshelves. That's a pretty simple solution, and I know Trevin's company has them. We have them as well. There are also more elegant, like metal drop-down rails that I've seen used in libraries before to keep books on shelvings as well. So, searching that out on the internet for these types of solutions, or reaching out to Trevor or myself, or Trevin or myself, to get this uh, you have a problem that you want to address, contact either one of us. We'd be happy to noodle with the people that we know that are experts at this too, and come up with some for sure.
Yeah, and I also recommend looking at both of our websites. Safety Proof and Quakehold.com. And so you can see all the different straps we have available. So identify which ones you're looking for, and if you need to get separately outside of this, then you can easily find those anywhere.
Okay, well, we've come to the end. Here is Glenn and Trevin's contact information. I'll leave this on here for a moment in case anyone wants to note down their phone numbers as well as email addresses. You can also, if you don't catch it and you have any questions that come to mind, you can email us directly at info@earthquakecountry.org. Question about fastening laptops to desks. Glenn or Trevin have any suggestions?
Those as you do this, you're going to find you're going to get pretty dang creative at doing it, right? So putty can be used to hold laptops down because they typically hold less than 20 pounds. Me personally, my laptop right here, I'm not putting that down. I'm grabbing it with me, and it's just sitting there, but invulnerable. But you could also have an expert at your own, creating your own fasteners. You could use industrial Velcro, or you could. Trevin's company has all kinds of
Yeah, we have home
solutions
electronics
that
straps, things like that.
you just look at that
Gel
stuff.
pads,
It's
whatever.
all over the place. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, being creative, there's all sorts of approaches. And again, probably finding some of those answers online or by emailing Glenn and Trevin. Again, thank you both for your presentations today and from the past again shown today. And thank you all for joining us.